along to KNTV and another episode finding out about somebody's life, and I'm joined by Naomi Hedgecock. Tell us a little bit about yourself, set the scene for us.
I am 30 years old, married for about 18 months now. I'm married to Alex, who I was in love with when we were 16. Met at school, fell in love, and then I broke that off when I moved to college, went to college, different directions, you know, we were quite young still. And then we met again on a farm about 5 years ago, maybe 6. And he was working there and there was just connection again straight away, you know, this, because we never stopped loving each other back then. It was just, I'm very headstrong and I made a decision, you know, this isn't going to work long term, don't want to do long distance, don't want to, you know. So
sounds like you broke his heart.
I did, yeah. But he has forgiven me now, which is nice. He found out, yeah. I'm a lorry driver.
Yes, tell us about that, because you don't really look like a long distance lorry driver.
Well, it started off farming. I farmed for a long time and it just developed into a passion to drive bigger things, bigger the better. And yeah, ended up moving into farm haulage. And yeah, so
you say the bigger the better. How big are you talking?
My lorry is 44 tonne.
Why would you go and do something like that? Because, you know, we've got kind of a stereotypical image, I think, of a lorry driver in our minds.
Yeah.
It's not you. So it's quite surprising.
Yeah. Well, basically, as I said, it started off with farming, and then I sustained an injury through farming where I had an incident with a bull that damaged my back.
With a bull?
Yeah. Just took my eye off the bull one day. I'd trimmed his feet, the bull, I had him in the crush. I let him out and I didn't watch him as he came out and he wasn't very happy. He normally was happy. Yeah, I didn't keep my eyes on him and he just came back on me from running out the crush, so yeah.
Wow, and knocked you over?
He had me up against a wall and also I was with an 80-year-old man and so I was holding a gate trying to like keep him off this old man as well who couldn't move very quick. So I was like basically holding him off of a gate and just getting smushed against the wall, yeah.
And how did it end?
So one of the other farmers that we worked with was coming down the track just as it all kicked off. So I was just trying to hold him off long enough for him to get a loop round him from the other side, and he managed to get a loop round his neck and pull him off long enough for us to scoot. But the damage was already done with me.
Wow, so what was the damage?
My whole trapezius muscle that runs from the base of your head down behind your shoulder blades and down to the bottom of your back is basically, I've aged it, it's about 90 years old now. So it's got so many tears and it's so contracted that they can't do anything with it. So just have to live with it.
Hence the change of career
yeah.
to the driving rather than
but that wasn't an easy time for me when I got injured because I had to stop working. I've always worked really hard, long hours. And so my mental health took a big dip then because I couldn't do what I loved anymore and yeah, sent me into a bit of a dark period in my life. Yeah.
And how did your Christian faith play into that time?
It wasn't great. I actually ended up then having a breakdown due to a previous trauma that I hadn't dealt with when I was younger. So all of that sort of tied in and I just broke down. I couldn't leave the house, couldn't leave my room. Took me 2 years to get back to work, back to being able to just lift like kettle, make a cup of tea, you know, use my shoulders properly. It was a really long process of different illnesses and it was a dark time for me and I had counselling through it and I remember telling my counsellor like I've spoken to people that say, oh actually now on the other side I can see God in it, and I said to him like I'm not going to be one of those people that says that, like God is not here. Like my whole life, all my farming that he gave me a passion for, like I always believed that he gave me my passion for farming, it's all whipped out from underneath my feet. I can't feel him here. I can't leave the house. I've got all this anxiety on me. I feel depressed. You know, I didn't want to be here anymore. And I just said, like, Lord, you're not there. you're not there. And I said to my counsellor, I know he's not here with me. But at the same time as saying that, I knew he was there, but I couldn't see him working in it. I couldn't see him helping me or encouraging me or answering me when I'm talking to him or giving me any kind of hope or light. So, yeah.
And now you are on the other side of that. Would you look back and say God was there? You said you wouldn't be one of those people.
Yeah, I struggle to find him in it still. I did some diary entries when I was in it, and I struggle to see sometimes, where he was in it, but I now know on the other side of it, I'm a very different person. I needed that breaking point to actually get counselling and deal with the past trauma, which I didn't realise had such a hold on my life. And coming out of nothing, having absolutely nothing, completely broken, I actually am a changed person through it, and he, coming out of that, I really felt him on the way out. I had an experience down the Warren in Folkestone where I was just walking and I was able to get out of the house for one of the first times in a long time, and I really felt the Holy Spirit fill me again, and it was a really special moment for me, and it transformed me in a way that I can't describe, but I'm a different person now.
And you'd say your faith is stronger now than it ever has been?
Yeah, I went into a really strong period of faith actually, where I was suddenly a really good Bible reader. I was reliant on it. I read it every morning, and I would have it with me everywhere I went. It was in my bag. And I actually felt a lot of wisdom come on me from the Lord during that time. I felt honestly like a new person, completely different person. I know how much of an impact just reading it every day made on my life, and the connection that I had through that.
So let's go back right to the beginning, because you mentioned at the start you were born into a Christian family.
Yeah.
So how did your faith develop? What did your family look like?
I had a relationship with God. I spoke to him, I prayed, but it wasn't the experience that I felt with him for that first time. And that was quite late on in life, considering I've been, I was probably 22 when that happened. So it was quite late on to have that experience, but then I really knew, up until that point, I knew he was there, but I'd never had an experience myself. I'd seen lots of other people have them. I'd prayed lots, but not felt anything. But until that point, I didn't have a real, like wow moment,
So people talk about becoming a Christian. Would you say you became a Christian after that then when you were 22, or had you become a Christian before then when you were a child? How do you see it?
I definitely became a Christian when I was younger, because of my traumatic experiences that I had. God was in that with me, and I felt him then very strongly as a young child. So
right from an early age you went along to church?
Yeah,
Sunday
school, youth group. So it was definitely in my life a lot, God. And I think you do get to an teenage where almost start to resent it a little bit and think, it's so on me that I need to make my own mind up.
And during that time in your teenage years when you said you drifted away, would people have known you drifted away? Or did you keep up a kind of religious front?
I would say they probably knew. I still went to church every Sunday, but I probably wasn't the best of influences. And, I've done in my past things that I regret, and I wasn't the best role model or any of that. I would say I definitely started to do my own thing, sort of just go to church because I knew how upset it would make mum and dad if I didn't. So just out of habit really, and that's what we did every Sunday.
And looking back, are you thankful that you went just to keep your parents happy? Yeah,
I think it just keeps that. You always know he's there for you, even when everything, falls apart around you. Even if you're angry and you're saying he's not there, a part of you knows he is there, and he always will be there, and he's the one person in life that isn't going to say the wrong thing, isn't going to put you down further, isn't going to let you down. You can always be completely open. He knows you from the inside out, and yeah, he's that constant that is always there.
Raining incredibly hard outside now. Flashes of lightning even. I think I might have just spotted. So when you say that you didn't have an experience like you did after your breakdown, what was that experience like, and how was it different to before?
It was like a weight was lifted off me. Like finally, after all these years of like shame, guilt, carrying around heavy burdens that I'd never told anyone about. Suddenly, like, I felt like my eyes were open, my heart was open, my body, I would say it was like I was completely filled with joy. Like, there's some lines in a song, It's Joy to the World, Christmas song, I listen to it all year round from that time, and it just has this line that says like, joy, unspeakable joy, an overflowing well no tongue can tell. And that's how I felt. I felt like the Lord's joy just filled me like from my feet, and it was like spilling out my mouth, and I was really filled for the first time with this, like, he 100% has me, like I'm his, I'm filled, you know. It was it was a really special moment for me, where I finally had that connection with him. I always thought of the story where this is going to be embarrassing, but I can't think of the name of the person that puts the rug out and says like, leave the dry ground and puts you on the rug.
Gideon.
Yeah, thank you, Gideon. And I always had that in my head. I'm like, Lord, one day I need that rug experience. Like, I'm too ashamed to ask you for it, because I've seen you work in so many people's lives. Like, I know you're real, I know you're there. I'm too ashamed to say something like that to you, like, oh, if you're there, do this. But for me, that was that moment for me where he was like, he just filled me, and I was like, you are there, like, I know now. It was an amazing moment for me. I didn't want to come home. I just wanted to be on that beach all day and just soak it up.
And in those really dark days of your breakdown, did you think you could ever experience joy like that?
No, I thought I couldn't see an outlook where I won, or where even in my breakdown, I just wanted to be with God. I was like, why have I been born? Like, why, if you knew this was going to happen to me, and I was going to feel this low, like I didn't want to be here, why any of it? And I was cross that I'd been born into the world. I was angry to be here, and I was like, now I have to wait to be with you in heaven. I have to go through all this, and I was in a really dark place, and
And what's your perception on that now?
I still have that why Earth, why these experiences, why what is Earth all about? Why are we all created? I still have that, but also I'm really happy here. I love my friendships. I love my family. I love making relationships with people, talking about people's experiences. I love being here as well. So.
Now, for you, anyone who's watching this who maybe finds themselves in that moment you described, in the middle of your breakdown, when you've got no idea where God is, what would you say to that person watching this right now?
He works everything for good. Like, he used that situation where there was no light, there was nothing. I just did not want to be here, and somehow he's worked that situation into good. I can connect with people over it. I can empathise with people, how they're feeling, he will work it for good. Although it feels like you're blocked in and there's no way out, he is still working in it, even if it doesn't feel like it. And there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can get through it, and it will be so worth it on the other side.
And finally, Naomi, just anyone watching this who doesn't have a faith in Jesus, has got no idea really what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say to that person?
Oh, you're living half a life. Yeah, it's, again, I don't know how many times I've used this word, but it's just transforming. It transforms the way you think, the way you act, the way you feel about everything around you, circumstances, and having that one cheerleader that's always on your side, that you could always turn to, that's never going to say the wrong thing or let you down. That is so important. And yeah, do it. Like, just say one little prayer and he'll do the rest. Like, as soon as you commit to him, like, he's got you forever.
Naomi, great chatting with you. And you know what? It's so true what Naomi just said. Jesus is just a prayer away. All we need to do is come to him, invite him into our life, say sorry for the times when we just gone our own way and tried to do it on our own. And actually we can invite Jesus in to come and change us, give us a new life. Why don't you do that right now?